Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gears Esports Pro League. I am Colin the Crow Clark. I'm being joined by not only Jacob MVPR, but we have a very special guest for you all and our match of the week, the one, the only, one of the best players on the planet right now to do it. Her content is incredible. How are you doing, Violet?
Hello, Colin. I'm doing well. And how about yourself?
I mean, I can't complain. I get the chance to chop it up with one of the best players, coaches, managers in history, and now one of our current best players on the planet. So, I mean, I'm the blessed one here.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the match coming up, Pittsburgh Knights versus Rebel, and I'm excited that you guys gave me the chance to commentate with you guys.
It's definitely... I was going to say, don't feel left out, PR. Jump in anytime, baby.
I wanted to give her, I know, like you say, we're just hot air up here. Being able to pick the mind of a current player, content creator, and you're sort of like a jack of all trades. Not only do you do it in English, you do it in Spanish as well, and you're not even Spanish. So it puts me to shame of sorts where I don't even know a lick of Spanish. I can barely understand me when Ruth's talking. I'm like, huh? What does that mean? So very glad to have you here. And what a matchup. One of my favorite matchups indeed, Rebel versus PK. And I want to try to get your initial thoughts on both of these teams.
Yeah, of course. So we know that PK has been a team for quite a while now, and so they might have an advantage over Rebel because of that. They have experience, they have the chemistry, and on the other side, Rebel, we have Identivez who used to play for PK. So even though he has new teammates and might not have much of a chemistry, he does know how the players of PK play. So that might be a advantage for Rebel as well.
Does it keep the discussion going? We're going to look at our key player matchup between Identivez and Dezonide. I mean, talk about brothers pretty much separated at birth. I feel like I've been on more teams together than any other two humans on the planet besides maybe Explosive and Mental. But now they're adversaries, and it looks like right now Dezonide got the much better end of that bargain, getting to stay with the Pittsburgh Knights than Identivez has, getting to go over to Rebel. And Violet, I'm going to throw this at you real quick. As you kind of look this over, do you just throw the stats out of the book because of how good these two players are and what they bring to their team? Is that something that you just kind of look at, you're like, they're too talented for these kinds of stats?
You know what, Colin? It could be, but at the end of the day, when you're playing as a team, you don't want to try to shine as an individual player. You want to shine as a team. So it could be that, Dezonide has the uphand on the kill-death ratio, but, we also have to put into consider their teammates helping him, assisting him get those kills. So, it could go two ways, go both sides.
Yeah, I think that's very well put, because one thing we've learned so far in Gears Esports, when it comes down to predictions, when it comes down to seeing who's going to be good, when it comes down to power rankings, we could take what we write down on paper and we could just throw that away because it just does not matter. And our predictions shows exactly that. It's only one side of the story. You can kind of see who's getting kills, who's winning those exchanges, but you don't know why those exchanges are happening. You don't know why the rotations are happening. You don't know why a player might be throwing their life away. So even though I like what you said, where it might not matter too much because of the way they're playing as a full unit.
Well, we might not know why of a lot of things. I'm sure Violet knows a lot more than both of us put together. But one thing we do know is the pick and bans for this matchup. We've got it right here on screen for everybody. Rebel picking Vascar, Pittsburgh Knights getting Harbor, and that's a scary sight for me because it's not like Pittsburgh is any kind of slouch on Vascar at all. And then, of course, they get their map pick in a map that they've dominated in Harbor in recent weeks. Again, I throw it off to the professional out of all of us. Violet, you see the three maps we're going to play. Vascar, Harbor, Foundation. Do you see anything that sticks out like a sore thumb? Is there a map personally that you prefer, that you feel like play styles are going to shine on?
Yeah, of course, Colin. So we have first map picked by Rebel. It's going to be Vasgar. And even though Rebel picked this map, I feel like it's going to go in the favor of Pittsburgh Knights just because Vasgar is a very big map and rotations are going to matter more than kills. Once you get the kills, that's fine. But it matters if you're going to rotate fast enough before they come out of spawn. So because Pittsburgh Knights has the advantage of being a team more time than Rebel, I think Pittsburgh Knights will take that map.
All right, you heard it here first, folks. This is grade A S tier analysis, PR. I don't even want to hear what you got to say, I don't think. But I'm going to let you speak anyway. I'm going to let you go ahead and be wrong. It's fine. Go ahead. Let me have it.
I mean, when you come down to the map selection screen, when you know these two teams and how they play, they're very aggressive. They play together in a wolf pack, 3, sometimes 4 members over. So when it comes to the first 2 maps, you got to kind of predict it. If Rebel wasn't going to pick Vascar, I kind of think the Knights would. So I think Violet kind of hit the nail on the head. Those kills matter, yes, but what you're doing post-elimination, post-kill, how fast and how long you're taking to make that rotation is really going to be the tail of the tape here.
I think I heard you even drop the little bit of a hint. You said it's going to be hard to predict. Well, I don't know if this one's going to be hard to predict. I've actually jinxed them. Literally, I think both times I've picked them in my history. Okay, every time I've picked this team, they lose. Don't know why. They must hate me, and they must hate my predictions. That's the only thing I'm going with. That's actually the reason I'm giving right now. I'm picking the Pittsburgh Knights. I love you, Inc. I love you, Rebel. I like what you're doing over there. I don't necessarily love that rebrand, but it's fine. We're not going to worry about it. I'm going to pick the Knights in a 2-0.
I think he hit the nail on the head, though. I like Inked. I like Rebel. Heck, I lived with Identivez for a couple of years when he was out here in America, but I'm trying to stay unbiased as possible. Colin, on paper, I just think there's too many inconsistencies on the side of Rebel. As of late, Knights have been pulling it together. They're seemingly putting it as good as they were last season when they took second over the regular season. So I got to go with the Pittsburgh Knights. I got to think they're going to pull it together in another match and take it to Rebel in a 2-1 fashion. I do think Rebel will put up a little bit of a fight, though.
Violet, what are your thoughts? Where is this
Pressure's
going?
on you.
I know. I mean, both of us picked PK, so do you want to rock the boat?
Okay, I mean, yeah, I'll give so Rebel has Identivez, right? And we know by experience, Identivez is pretty much of a slayer, but also Identivez can use the weapons on the map to his advantage. If you guys remember from Gears of War 4, Identivez is a really great player with the M-Bar. And if Vascar is a big map, so if they put a weapon down on Vascar, if Identivez has his hands on a weapon like M-Bar, that can churn the table around, and it could go to the advantage of Rebel, definitely.
So both of us picked Pittsburgh Knights. You sound like you're leaning toward Rebel, but are you picking them to actually win this series?
Your final answer. Pressure's on.
You know what? I know Rebel has won a few games against Pittsburgh Knights, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't watched much, but Pittsburgh Knights, like I said, they've been a team longer than Rebel. They know each other more than Rebel knows them, and I think Pittsburgh Knights will take it. If not 2-0, it would be 2-1.
All right, so we've got 3 Pittsburgh Knights on the board. Chat, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm pretty sure they're picking Pittsburgh Knights. I don't think I've ever seen chat pick against them. There's no way that, like, if this was a roulette machine, it would have just been that. Like, I wouldn't have even had to pull the handle. I put 1.5 million channel points. Good gracious, who got that many? Who watching UMG that much? Who lying? Who lying out there?
Oh my! I wonder how much. Like, where's the percentage at on that one? Because these are both Latin American teams, and sometimes it's kind of hard to predict where the fans are going to go. But maybe not when it comes to the Pittsburgh Knights. 100%. Would you say pick rate for the Pittsburgh Knights? They're probably getting all their victories over us because of the Knights themselves.
I mean, but I did jinx them, so I picked them. So we already know that everybody else is wrong. Apparently, at this point, if this goes if this somehow goes to Rebel, I swear I'm probably going to get a hate mail from all 4 of those players and Demise. I'm getting DMs from all 4 of them by the end of the night. They're going to be like, don't you ever pick me again, Colin. Don't you ever sully our name with your mouth ever again. But look, we're loading into Vascar. Violet, this is going to be a pretty good matchup. Like you said, Vascar is a pretty large map. Teams are going to have to rotate around, fight for one another. As we load into the maps, you as a player, let's just get a little bit of your insight. What portion of the map do you prefer fighting on the most when it comes to a map like Vascar?
Right. So I think me personally, I like playing on the tank side of the map because if you notice, one side has the advantage. They get there before the other team. And so it all depends on if the players that do have that advantage, are they going to stalemate or are they going to play up aggressively? And so looking here, I think Pittsburgh Knights, being more of the aggressive team, they might take advantage of that and start with the initial strong.
So as we come out to this first initial PR, and we're just going to kind of chop it up here and try to chat about what we see on our screen. We don't want to get too crazy with this. You see Pittsburgh Knights, They go for that home-to-home stretch that they're pretty famous for when they spawn Cog side. You can see him trying to pressure up on the crack. He keeps putting out those pot shots, but the over-rotation backside of the map by Rebel already pressuring up onto A. Monkyz is just trying to hide. I think he was trying to wait for somebody to get over there to help him, but Violet, do you usually see your teams or teams that you're used to playing against, do they kind of follow that same MO where Cog side in this first half usually tries to pressure home to home?
Yeah, definitely, because if you have the chance, if you have the opportunity, it's better to take it rather than not to, because you never know, not taking your chance, you know, you might have won the fight, and that would have opened up more opportunities for you to continue on with the push.
And I see Monkyz, just the last-ditch effort. We saw him in this situation before. He got spotted out from across the map. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. He doesn't get fooled, opens up the window for his team, and he overextends. On a map like this, we talk about a counterclockwise, clockwise rotation. How much do you think timing plays into this one?
Yeah, so I think that Pittsburgh Knights, they don't waste time. Like I said, when they have the opportunity, they take it. And it looks like we have a 2-to-1 hill advantage here from Rebel. And Pittsburgh Knights is waiting to push in. We have Dezo with the flash. Flash is coming in from both sides. And Dezo pushing in. Kardia being flashed. Kardia gets taken out by Dezo. And Crack left in the 1v2, not being able to do much there. And Raver backtracking on to their home hill because we have Pittsburgh Knight or Rebel on the other side putting pressure. They know they have to do something. And Flash is coming in. Demon with 2v2 situation out here on Alpha. And looks like Identivez gets taken out, leaving Demon all by his lonesome. And Pittsburgh Knights will be taking that fight.
PR, I love that right there. Violet starts giving her insights into the game. She breaks right on into the play-by-play seamlessly. She's breaking it down for all of you at home. I told you before we started this, I was probably going to take the rest of the night off, but now that she's showing me she got the chops, baby, I'm out. All right, I'm breaking out. I don't need to be here no more. You don't need me. You got Violet, you got PR, you got two of the best brains and two of the best people on the planet to do it. What am I even doing here, PR? There's no reason for me to be here no more. Rebel trying their best to hold off Pittsburgh, by the way. Great retake by Pittsburgh and good first round by.
Definitely a great retake. Rebel has basically one last opportunity here late into the game, and with these eliminations coming through, their hope goes out the window, and you got to kind of think into this one. Pittsburgh Knights, it's a very close round number one. It wasn't convincingly won. 3 minutes is what it took. And this is where I look at you. After a round like this, Violet, when it comes into the weapon selection screen, what are you telling your team? Are you going straight into your strategy for the next round? Are you fixing adjustments of the round prior?
Yeah, so we can definitely use the side weapons to our advantage, even though it's not a big weapon like the main weapons we put down in the middle. For example, we have Boltox coming in from Pittsburgh Knights, and even though it's a small weapon, it can make a big, huge difference in a fight. It can slow down the fight, change things up, and it seems like Rebel will be matching their Boltox, if I'm not mistaken. We'll be seeing 2 Boltox being put down from both sides, and I'm curious to see what they can do with these weapons, Jacob.
Definitely, I'm curious as well. We've seen some big plays happen from across the map, and we've even seen some teams leave those Botox on a few rounds prior, but it does look like the Pittsburgh Knights are going to send 3 members over towards the top. On the other side, Rebel is going to go for a 2-2 split, Colin. What type of strategy do you think Rebel is going to do? Do you see them capturing that second hill? Pittsburgh Knights taking a long time to rotate over.
Pittsburgh's doing a pretty good job trying to fend off this wave from Rebel, and now they have a 3v3 stacked up outside of the home hill of Rebel, and then you can see they've already given up the tank. The tank fight's going to be a 1v1 opposite side of the map. Monkyz, though, with it down. That's going to open things wide up as you see the flashes out. Crack is going to have to rotate back. Monkyz now over that cover, goes for the little up fade. He actually gets the second attempt, and they kill off Identivez. That should really crack this egg wide open to give them the home-to-home stretch, and they're going to be able to pressure up on a Demon. But Demon, I think, gets the call out that I believe that was Raver coming to the middle of the map, so now they're going to pull back. It's going to be a little bit of a fight over tank, but, I mean, you see Rebel, they're skedaddling out of there.
You see Raver at 1 second. Like I said, Pittsburgh Knights is rotating fast. Raver was on their home hill, and the other second, Raver was on the B hill. So he, as soon as he sees the opportunity, he is already rotating. He's 1 step ahead. And we have the home hill of Pittsburgh Knights, home hill of Rebel being contested here by Pittsburgh Knights, 2 members. It's going to be a 2v3 situation. I don't know if this is good for Pittsburgh Knights, but a down coming in from Dezo, getting 1 kill. I don't know how that happened. And now he's opened up a door for Pittsburgh Knights to push in. Monkyz starting to push. Dezo trying to get help for Monkyz here, and Sumuns taking 1 down, but it does not matter because they kill Sumuns. He's being taken out. Identivez as well. Now we have a 3v2 situation in favor of Rebel. Pittsburgh Knights on their back foot, trying to scurry out, and we're going to see how this folds down.
Great breakdown coming through. You see Dezonide trying to backtrack like Colin said, but he does get taken out. Kardia with a huge double kill there, forcing these players back. You see the hill is going to change hands there on the home. So the Pittsburgh Knights, they're going to have to think of something. And you saw there was a moment there they attacked and had great angles through the middle. It did look like they're going to take both of those home hills, but they let it slip by. So right now it's going to be up to Rebel to hold on to both of these 2 hills. They need to rack up the scoreline because they do come back with 2. They have 150 before the 200-point mark is going to be eclipsed, but they need to start making these plays of defense on the side of Knights.
I like how long range Pittsburgh has decided to go. They pushed right on through tank. They're going to try to take a 1v1 at A. Basically a 1v1 because it's going to be a 3v3. Everybody's got a man up, but they're actually going to double shot down Crack, and now they have a 3v2 advantage. Actually, that's been evened up. Monkyz goes down to the bottom. I think Sumuns cracked Raver in the back with a shotgun, so they're going to continue to fight over this A hill. They got to get a break and a retake here very quickly. Meanwhile, Rebel has won the B hill, so this could still go back into Rebel's favor because nobody's going to make it off of spawn in time to be able to save that next hill. No points going right now, increasingly in either team's favor. Less than 3 seconds to go. Rebel's going to wrap this one up, and they tie it up 1-1.
You know, it seemed like Pittsburgh Knights had the advantage in that round. As I was saying, Raver, as soon as he saw the opportunity, he rotated to take out, I think it was only 1 player left from Rebel, but they weren't able to take him out. And as I said, the players spawned back in, and if you take too long to rotate, that might be a nuisance.
Yep. There was, I'm telling you, a moment there. They were funneling the players of Rebel on towards their home mill. I know you mentioned Dezonide picking up the kill. You didn't know how, but that was because Raver traveled through the middle with his lantern, got an angle. You saw Sumuns kind of there with him, holding an angle as well through the middle. And both Dezonide and Monkyz had that top angle, so there was almost no position that was safe. Unfortunately, they got too aggressive, they got too close, and Rebel took advantage.
Round number 3 underway. Rebel's going to stack up, and Pittsburgh Knights with a full 4-man push over here. They're going to leave the B hill to go ahead and get capped on up. You see the flashes out by both sides. There's Demon. He doesn't even get stunned. He's going to try to head straight down, and he gets a trade out. Beautiful job, I guess, by him to try to break up this aggression by the Pittsburgh Knights. They're still going to get the decap here. Monkyz full red. Kardia trying to go for the wrap. Here comes the extra man into the fight. That's going to be, I believe, Identivez, and they're going to 2v the world right now. They've got 2 out of 4 kills under their belt. Kardia backs up. They've got Raver full red. They've got him down. That's 3 in a row for the side of Rebel, and they are well on their way to trying to get that A hill back and maybe even pressuring a triple cap. Hey, look, Violet, that was a beautiful job. When you can get a double shot down, like that with a teammate, how effective is that when you can just kind of roam around with a teammate, both of you with Nashers out, just get full spreads?
Oh man, when you have team fights, it's crucial to be able to help your teammate out. And like we see here, Pittsburgh Knights, they're trying to do the best that they can in the team fights, but it looks like Rebel is always coming out on top. And we did see Demon push straight in. I don't know if that was the right play, but it seems like at the end, it worked out in their favor.
So with the changes this meta, changes to escalation, do you think there's been a whole new bit of weight put into that Retro Lancer? Because we're seeing it now more than ever. We're seeing it's placed onto the field even longer, upgraded to 60 seconds instead of a utility at times. How important do you think it is? Because we see it take over games. Is it just in the right hands, or is it a weapon you want on the field in general?
Oh man, Jacob, a weapon like the Retro, if you have the Retro and you're defending a hill, I think it's safe to say that's almost GG's right there, because trying to straight line a Retro, I don't think you're going to have a good time. I think you're going to be pretty upset.
Just plain talented.
Nobody so far has come out on the right end of trying to head down a Retro tonight. Pittsburgh Knights, they're taking the home-to-home stretch here. They're going to have 1 player playing defense at the A hill, their own home. Meanwhile, they've got a 30 or 40-point lead, so it's going to only continue to grow down to 30 seconds for Rebel to try to make a move. This is going to be Monkyz just playing back, and there's that Retro we talked about. Are you going to head down straight into it? Demon tried and got a lot of damage put out onto him. Actually goes down. You know that there's a teammate there for the easy, quick revive off. So Rebel is still, they're committed to this now. They've got 2 players right up in the spawn, right up in the A hill of the Pittsburgh Knights. There's a 1v1 backside of the map. Raver hits a good back A, rolls back in the second shot, comes out for perfection. There's a couple of kills. They solidify the hills, and it looks like once again, Pittsburgh Knights, they answer the bell, answer the toll. Violet, right now, neither team really shows a dominant stretch. Is it a lot of it being attested to which team is spawning on that arrival side over by the luggage in the A hill?
You know, I think at this point we're seeing both teams not struggling in the individual fights. I think it's the rotations because, like I said, this map is really big, and it depends on one side of the map. If you have a 3v2, it's going to take a long time for your teammates to come back to make it a 3v3. So as soon as you have the advantage, they're going to take it 100%. And so here we see Boltox. I think they put timing on the Boltox, if I'm not mistaken. And we have both Boltox and Retro on the map. And like I said, they're not main weapons, but they definitely do slow down the fight. And we did see that from Monkyz on the last round, getting a double kill with the Retro. And it seems like off the initial, like I said, on the tank side of the map, Rebel has the advantage, so they will be capping that hill. On the flip side of the end, we have 2 members of Pittsburgh Knights trying to put pressure on the home hill of Rebel. And looks like Monkyz has the Retro again, so they're taking full advantage of that. 3 members of Pittsburgh Knights trying to make this push, trying to make Identivez crack uncomfortable here, but taking out Raver. Raver's down. Revive coming in from Dezo, and a 3v3 on this side of the map, Jacob.
This is just insane. Talk about that Retro. Identivez just mowing players down from the top. Kardia goes in and gets a kill, but Crack does a little bit of blunder, gets a little bit of team kill. Monkyz doing what he can to keep his team alive, getting that elimination on Demon. And honestly, that's a window of opportunity. You're going to have a second of advantage. Talk about rotations. When you have this advantage, if you're looking at the mini-map, where would you rotate right now?
Oh, so we have a 2-to-1 hill advantage for coming in from Rebel, but it seems like we have 3 members of Pittsburgh Knight on their home hill, and I don't know if this should be a push for Rebel unless they have the numbers to match, but it doesn't matter because Kardia taking one out, taking Dezo out. And on the other side, Monkyz returning with another kill for Demons. We have a 2v2 on this side of the map. Kardia taking out Monkyz. 1v2 situation for Raver. Let's see if he can clutch this out. One shot, Raver taking one down, but it does not matter because on the other side we have Kardia. Kardia says, don't worry, I'll pick you up. And it looks like we have a 2-to-1 hill on side of Pittsburgh Knights, Colin.
Yeah, beautiful job here. Pittsburgh Knights are going to lose that 2-to-1 hill advantage. You see Dezo try to push in after the Voltox shot. He gets shut down by Demon. And now Monkyz actually hops off the cover, takes the first brick, but then the melee comes through. And Violet, something I'm just going to throw at you. Just you can gnaw it over however much you want. Monkyz right now in our pro league is sitting at a 4-0 KD, not KDA. 4-0 KD. That means he's killing 4 people for every time he dies. Just when you're at a high level of competition, how ungodly impressive is that?
I mean, I'll tell you, I've played with and against Monkyz, and man, this player, he has no mercy. He shows no mercy. He is not afraid of anyone on the map. And I think that that's one of the biggest advantages for Monkyz is that he has the mindset. You know, he's confident going into these matches, and it looks like we're gonna have a 2-to-2 on the scoreboard. And it looks like my prediction was not true. It looks like Pittsburgh Knights isn't gonna be taking the map or taking Vasgar into their advantage.
I mean, it's not over just yet. We've seen some of these teams pick it up when their backs are up against the wall. When it comes down to this weapon selection, how important do you think the retros are versus the utilities? Because this is the moment of the match where you see teams really upgrade that Boltok and have 2 big sort of support weapons on the map, or they go ahead and take away that retro that we talked about. It's kind of GG's if it's like a narrow hallway. How much importance do you put over the utility versus the retro lance?
So we have shocks coming in, and like you said, there is a difference between the retros and the shocks. Retro does slow the game down, but what the shocks can do is you can throw a shock to basically block their exit. Once you block their exit, they have nowhere to go. You have them trapped. And that's the time where you can make plays. You can tell your teammates to, hey, push up, he's trapped. And just like over here, we have Pittsburgh Knights trying to make a play onto the home hill of Rebel. Crossfire coming in from Dezo. Kardia being taken down. Monkyz trying to go for the flank. Raver, I think downing Kardia with the shock. Like I said, they used that shock to their advantage. And it looks like 3 members of Rebel will be taken down. And it's all up to Demons, but it does not matter because Sumuns does take him out. And a trip cap domination does come in.
I just heard it in the distance after that kill call, and somebody yelled World Star, I think. That was just an insane reaction shot in a must-win 1v1 scenario.
Pittsburgh Knights answering the bell once again. And real quick, 16-3-8 for Kardia. When you see something like that on a map, and I know we've talked about it before in the past, but Violet, do you ever find yourself in your team, if you're playing against somebody that's popping off in that regard, 16-3-8, do you ever find yourself trying to strategize for that, basically saying, hey, look, let's get a second Lancer on that guy, and let's take him down. If we can get that person off the map, that really nullifies kind of their offensive push, because Kardia right now, it's basically make or break for them. He's either coming through with shots to get downs or kills, or he's just messing up any kind of rotation that Pittsburgh has. Do you find yourself often trying to get that to happen, or is that not something that's really viable?
You know, I think you bring up a good point, Colin, because I think it exists where every map, one of the players has a good game and the other has a bad game. And it looks like right now Kardia is definitely having his match. And if I was on Pittsburgh Knights, I would do exactly what you're saying, and I would try to put the focus on Kardia because he does have that momentum right now. And it looks like Rebel is trying to put pressure onto Pittsburgh Knights home hill, trying to push their turf. And a shock coming in once again, just like Jacob said, those shocks are going to be very important to these teams. And looks like Rebel is trying to retreat because they were not able to acquire the home hill of Pittsburgh Knights.
Very good, dangerous for them because those players they eliminated early on are back off of respawn, and that's exactly why they're making that rotation in which you said they're backing out. They realize we can't continue to go forward. We will get sandwiched out, and what a right play at the right time because they're going to get this decap. They're going to be in a position to get the capture as well, but they have to be careful. Lots of damage being traded off from both of these teams. Sumuns, for one, taking a ton of damage, but there goes a player sneaking down towards the middle. That's going to be Demon. He has to be careful here, but they're trying to take a 2v1 scenario to keep the hills in their favor.
Monkyz is going to try to get that extra kill right there. He gets some help. They get Kardia out. The shot over, I think that was Monkyz, or excuse me, Sumuns gets the headshot there. I'm not sure what weapon he was using or where he could get the shot in from. You see them continue to rotate around the map. Sumuns is actually pulling back toward the tank. He's going to have a 2v1 here. He's actually stuck between a rock and a hard place. 2 players just came off spawn. If he finds even one, that's just massive. Sumuns has been playing so much better in these recent weeks. Alex has really returned to such MVP form. Beautiful job by him to even come away with a kill and match things up, even it up around the map in a 3v3 fashion. It's going to keep Pittsburgh pretty much in the driver's seat for this round and try to get them as close to a 4-2 as possible, trying to double up the round counts, and Monkyz hitting full spreads. I mean, my God, what more could you ask for out of these guys?
And that's just, like I said, the timing is just not good on the side of Rebel. It looked like they were going to try to 3-man push. Monkyz catch one out of position. He actually throws the flash grenade just to rob them of that shock. He throws it a little bit too early, in my opinion, but he's trapping Kardia there. Exactly what Violet pointed out. Multiple eliminations going the way of the Pittsburgh Knights. They're over the 200-point mark, and I got to ask you, what does Rebel need to do to get themselves back into this round?
You know, Jacob, I think at this point, it looks like Pittsburgh Knights is gaining momentum. If I was Rebel, I would probably put a weapon down on this map. Rebel, like I said, Identivez is good with the M-bar. If they wanted to, they could put a big weapon down and change it around a little bit because it looks like we're going to be going into a 4-2 lead in favor of Pittsburgh Knights. And so they definitely have the momentum going in here.
Look, we're not idiots. Look, you and I both always suggest they put down some kind of power weapon, some kind of long shot M-bar. Violet's now agreeing with us. I feel a whole lot better about saying that now. I can breathe a sigh of relief because in my head I was like, maybe I'm just wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. Hearing Violet say they might as well put down some kind of power weapon, try to change their favor, try to get a different fight around the map to get something to put in somebody's hands like Identivez, like an M-Bar. It looks like Pittsburgh Knights, they're going to half the time on the retro. So now every 60 seconds, they're going to be throwing out rounds. And Rebel, they're listening to the broadcast, I think. Oh, they were hovering over the tank for a second. They were hovering over it.
Oh, well, I know what I think about that, Violet. What do you think about the Ensign? You talked about a big weapon. Is that a big enough weapon in your opinion?
Come on, guys.
An Ensign definitely could be. I think the Ensign as well tries to slow the fight down because they can toss it from a mile away and they can get a kill. Because the Flames, it doesn't take a while to kill someone. As soon as you hit them, they're dead. And so here we have Pittsburgh Knights Raver trying to get a kill on Kardia. Crossfire coming in from both sides. Kardia, I'm not sure he put himself in a bad position there. And Dezo and Raver continue on with the push. And the Ensign coming out but not being able to connect from Crack. Too bad for Rebel. And looks like Pittsburgh Knights is on the turf of Rebel. They have to be careful here. And Raver going down by Crack. Crack trying to find another one. We have 2 members of Pittsburgh Knights, but looks like they're going to be retreating.
Yeah, Crack trying to stay up top, trying to stay up at this point. You saw how ready he was, just kind of bouncing around, trying to get to a position where he could put damage out. But, I mean, they kept peppering him up with Lancer here and there. Monkyz, he's stacked up at their own home hill with the retro. I think you might have to rotate him over, try to get that retro into the fight at E. You see Raver up top. He's trying to find... He knows we're at 3 people on the map bar, and we've talked about it before, those... You know how it is. When you don't have all the information, you don't have all the intel, this is a very hard push to make because you're just not sure where that second player might be hiding, waiting in the wings. Dezo's actually going to push up. Now they call out Identivez, and they see him pull back. Good little job to get the pull back there by Rebel. And they don't have any downs or damage yet, so they can't necessarily just sit in the E hill. Dezo's going to pull up. He's going to try to get that right-hand advantage, that angle out onto Demon. He's got some Lancer shots on, but he's full red as well. Here comes a 3rd player from the Pittsburgh Knights and a 3rd from Rebel. Whoever wins this big team fight is definitely probably going to come away with the advantage in this round, and it's going to be won by the Pittsburgh Knights.
We had a 2v2 on the E-Hill, and if you guys noticed, Monkyz rotated, I don't know from where, and that actually helped Pittsburgh Knights to get through 3v2 on the E-Hill. And as soon as they get the kills, they are pushing on to the hill of Rebel. Rebel coming off of spawn. Let's see if they can get their hill back. Monkyz going down. Raver's taking Identivez out. And it looks like we have Crack going down as well. And we have all members of Rebel going down. It looks like this map will be in favor of Pittsburgh Knights.
PR, this is that was a fantastic first map by the Pittsburgh Knights, and with those 3 rounds in a row toward the end of that map, I think one of the things that we can definitively say is it's almost like Pittsburgh kicked it into that next gear. They had it, they were kind of cruising along in 4th gear. They dropped it, hit the clutch, brought it into that 5th gear. They said, look, let's play a little bit faster. Let's make sure that we get extra shots in around the map. And next thing you know, all Rebel can do is kind of back roll, look for each other's back, try their best to hold on. And all they could do at the end was just watch the Pittsburgh Knights win 3 rounds in a row and settle up map number 1. And now they go to a map. And I actually think I misspoke earlier. Pittsburgh Knights have played Harbor very well against everybody else. The last time they played Rebel on Harbor, I believe it was in E-Days, and I'm pretty sure Rebel won it. I'm not sure the exact round count, but I think it was 5-1, 5-2.
What I did notice in that one, and obviously stats, disclaimer, doesn't tell the full story, but Violet, you kind of spoke about it early on with Identivez and this Rebel roster, how he has to be a slaying powerhouse. If Identivez is going off, the chances of Rebel taking this series, or that map in particular, is going to be high. He did a good job of supporting the roster, but I think he was about 2 in 15, 2 kills, 15 assists. Do you think a player can not be aggressive and do the assisting work when you kind of need them to be a slayer? Do you think there's a moment that a slaying powerhouse like Identivez can take a backseat role?
If we have certain roles on a team, and if Identivez is going to be the slayer, I think it is not too well if he has a 2, if you said 2 and 15, 2 kills 15. I don't think that should happen, but like I said, people have their bad games and they have their good games, and it looks like on this map, as Colin said, Kardia was actually looking like the Slayer here instead of Identivez. And it could be that they noticed it and, Identivez let it play out and he became the support player. He decided to change the roles up. And sometimes that can happen between teams and players.
PR, we see here the graphic up 1-0 in favor of the Pittsburgh Knights. Violet's kind of talked about how Kardia really showed up and showed out as the main Slayer in that first map. They come to Harbor. I'm going to kind of posit the question to you, Violet. You're more than welcome to answer after PR if you want to add some words of wisdom. PR, we saw what Rebel was able to do when they could keep Pittsburgh Knights rotating, when they could get that initial kill. What's the easiest way for them to try to get that initial kill in this next matchup?
It's really going to come down towards that up top portion of the map and that stern, figuring out what your strategy is and well-placed flash grenades. And not only the well-placed flash grenades, but you have to act onto those flash grenades. Time and time again, I see so many players off of the initial, throw their utility grenades and not act off of it. That's sort of a kind of a waste. You got to make sure that every single bit of utility that you're throwing out there has some sort of a purpose, has some sort of a play. You can throw the smoke with the purpose of just clouding one portion of the map. You have to start making moves for the other side of the map for the reason why that smoke is. So when I look at Rebel and I look at this roster, you talk about rotations and not necessarily doing that. This map doesn't have too many rotations. There's a war up top and maybe a war down low. And I'm looking at Rebel to start off hot in this match and gain the momentum on their side, because you see what happens when players like Monkyz heat up, players like Sumuns heat up. And to me, if you allow those players to heat up on a second consecutive map, it's going to be lights out. I don't know if you think any different, Violet. Go ahead and give me your opinion, because I trust it.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned the stern side, but I think we're forgetting the winch side. So we have either a 1v1 or a 2v2 going down at winch. And notice if you win that fight, it might change things up on stern if we have a stalemate on that side, because once you win the winch side, you have clear view on the flank. You can start crossing the stern, and it forces the team to play up and play aggressive. And that can be the playmaker right there too, Jacob.
I think that's well said, Colin. I want to give you an opportunity to kind of answer your own question as this map does get into the game. Is there any one strategy you're really looking at Harbor from either one of these teams, or maybe possibly both?
Flash out, dash out, get the early up A's at the wench. I know we used to say throw smokes and get loose, but we got to flash now in the game, so I figured I'd switch that up. Shout out to one-time demo bounce. Hope he's healing up all right. Outside of that, I expect a lot of up A's at wench. I expect them to take advantage of that right-hand advantage that you have on one spawn rather than the other. So I lean toward more what Violet was talking about, where you win that wench to try to take control over the bottom and the top sides of the map, either get an extra Lancer on the opposite side of the map or get a Lancer down low to help your teammate win the 1v1. I lean toward her wisdom in this rather than yours. No offense, PR. I just think it was better advice.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. High ground usually wins in almost any game you're playing.
Well, the flash is out early. A lot of Lancer damage early by Demon across the top of the winch right there as well. Raver has to back up because Monkyz got down. I love kind of the stop and pull up that you saw most of the players from Rebel do. They said, we're not going to engage in this war of shotguns. We are going to just throw out shots with the Lancer over the top, try to get you down or get you damaged enough that we could literally just rotate around and try to put the shots on you. And it ends up netting them a triple cap domination and an early round one victory. Violet, is that a nice little wrench to throw into a game plan, pull up with the Lancer rather than try to engage in that CQC?
Oh yeah, definitely. If you have your teammates in a fight, you can have your Lancer out and believe in your teammate to have your back as soon as they try to straight line you. And wow, what happened to that round? It flashed before my eyes. 40 seconds. It looks like Pittsburgh Knights, they just ran through Rebel. I'm sorry, Rebel ran through Pittsburgh Knights.
I think a huge portion of that, you asking what happened, it was that early fight, those early exchanges that happened. They weren't initially chunks. They got two players down on the side of PK and they left them down and they pushed forward. So when they got those eliminations, it was almost like a full team wipe. So they were able to easily get in both the B hill, maneuver on over towards the home hill. It was like little to no contention after that initial. So I'm looking at the Pittsburgh Knights to answer back and not give up any momentum, not allow Rebel to piece it together.
Coming to round number 2 now. Boltock's out on both sides, and we're going to have the same kind of little initial from Rebel, but Pittsburgh Knights are actually, they're going to go on a full flank. Dezo, player number 7. I'm not sure if he's called out yet, but he's got to be called. Yeah, there's the mark on the Dezo. He tried to be very sneaky, get all the way to the home hill of Rebel. He's going to get called out. They Lancer him down. And now they've rotated Raver into the middle of the map. This is a very interesting strategy for the Pittsburgh Knights here.
Oh my.
Yeah. I don't know what that was from Sumuns with the reaction shot coming in, and Sumuns in front of 2 players of Rebel, not being able to do much there. Kardia gonna be acquiring the B hill. On the other side of the map, we have Crack versus Raver and Monkyz. 2v2 going on Stern, and it looks like Flash is coming through, and it's gonna be Raver being taken out first by Identivez. So we have the advantage on the Rebel side. Another member of Pittsburgh Knights being taken out. It looks like they're putting pressure. Rebel trying to decide if they want to push or not. And this is where the communication comes through from Team Rebel, whoever the IGL is. And it looks like they do want to go for the push. They do want to go for the trip cap. 3 members down from Pittsburgh Knights. It's going to be up to Dezo, but it's not going to be
Who
enough.
am I messing with?
Wow. After that map number 1, after what we saw, what the Pittsburgh Knights were kind of able to do, this is definitely a complete turnaround. And I got to ask you, and Colin as well, I know you have a history of winning some championships in golf, and you're a semi-professional golfer of your own mind, so I know you have the composure there.
Jeez.
But how easy is it for you to flip a switch from one map to the next? Is it kind of a bad game? Is it kind of a bad map? I know we have a pick and ban process for a reason.
You know what? I think it all comes down to the players and their mentality and their mindset. As soon as you lose a map, you got to tell your teammates, it's okay, it's fine, we're going to come back, forget about that map, and let's focus on the next one. And it looks like Rebel is doing exactly that. They are not losing composure, and with the 2-0 lead, they can continue to come off top with the momentum that they have going on here.
And like I said, Rebel, the last time they played on Harbor, came away with a victory. I'm not sure of the exact round count, but I thought it was maybe 5-1 or 5-2. They're already on their way to a 5-0, unless Monkyz has something to say about it. He said, look, you might have downed my partner back there, but I'm going to pull up on both of you and put the shotty to the body and get the double kill real quick. And that leaves Raver and Monkyz in a 2v1 on a Demon, top side of the map. They get the kill there, and they're off to the races. It looks like they're going to have to deal and contest with a few of the respawns, though, Crack being one of them. He actually pulls down. I love that little movement. He pulls back, pulls the Lancer. Everybody's going to be very much damaged up and shot on. Monkyz tries to pull up to put the final nail in the coffin. And oh my God, he does. My man is a carpenter at this point because he built that whole coffin by himself.
He said this man had a 4.0 kill to death ratio, showing exactly why. He shows no fear, and this is why he's one of my favorite players to watch, because it doesn't matter if he's fighting what some other people might think the best player in the game or the worst player in the game. He plays with the utmost confidence every single time, and that's what you're looking for in a superstar player.
You know, I'm surprised that these teams, they are going back and forth with the gunfights, and they are closing the rounds out with the trip cap domination. And it is the first rotation of the hills. And notice that off spawn, you can at least touch the hill with spawn protection. But once the hills switch to the other side of the map, you can't. And good for Rebel and Pittsburgh Knights that they're taking advantage, even though that they can come off spawn. And off the initial here, we have 2 members of both teams. No, it looks like 3 members of Pittsburgh Knights putting pressure onto Winch, forcing Identivez back out. No mames, Identivez, no puedes matar esos güeyes. Y we have here Dezo against the whole team of Pittsburgh Knights retreating. It looks like they're scared of Rebel here.
I love that. Hey, look, if you want to pop off any more, Violet, go on ahead and pop off. I ain't going to stop you. If PR tries to interrupt you, I'll backhand him. I'll fly all the way to California and make sure he doesn't ever do that again or think about it twice, okay? So if you want to pop off like that, go on ahead, let him have it. But right now, you see the retake from Pittsburgh coming out. They've already got the decap at B. Monkyz again showing no fear. He hits the full spread on Demon. Oh no, and Kardia downs Demon from the spawn. That was a little miscue on the Lancer fire, but at least they did come away with the kill. And now they're going to come away at least with their home. And you see Rebel trying to fly back across the map. They're trying to do the same kind of pressure offense to Pittsburgh. They don't want to give him any chance to rest. Crack has the retro in hand. He's trying to get Dezo down, and Dezo goes for the up A. As soon as he comes around the corner, Kardia sets him down. A beautiful job so far on the retake. They are just continuing the onslaught. Kardia might be down, but Crack, if he's got anything to say about it with that retro, he's going to try to make sure they don't have anywhere to go or anywhere to hide.
This is where what Violet spoke about early on. They have the up top winch, they have the bottom low stern, so they have all the high ground in the world. So these rotations from Demon, these rotations coming out from Identivez are going to be hard, and that's exactly why you see a counter rotation coming through from Identivez. Unfortunately, he gets caught out of position, he gets lancered up and taken down, so now they're gonna have to push in to a PK team who knows they're coming from a mile away. They have to be careful. Well-placed flash grenades. Crack goes down. The back try coming through from Kardia, which kind of wastes his utility grenade. Now it's going to be so hard for Rebel to answer back. They're not able to put out any offense because they're stuck chain reviving, and the Pittsburgh Knights are beginning to steamroll and take over the later portions of this game.
You know, I almost wanted to say that Pittsburgh Knights were letting Rebel just stroll through with the take back, but it looks like they were just playing it safe, and very well played by Pittsburgh Knights by doing that, not getting into chunk range, not risking anything at this level of Pro League. Very well played by Pittsburgh Knights, and Dezo on winch with the retro. That can be very, very dangerous. And B-Hill's definitely not going to be capped as long as Dezo is here on winch with the retro. But from behind, Dezo does not realize. And here comes Identivez and taking out Dezo. Dezo as a Mr. Krabs, not knowing what's going on. Identivez bouncing around, not being able to do anything there. And it looks like it's going to be Pittsburgh Knights.
Beautiful job there. 2-2 tied up by Rebel, or excuse me, by Pittsburgh Knights. They tie it up 2-2 going into the second half. We'll see those hills flip, and now that winch fight, that stern fight, become that much more important now that they've put that middle neutral hill up top. Everybody's going to be able to put all their eggs in that basket. Pittsburgh Knights, they've decided to upgrade to the shock. Rebel, they're hovering over the retro. I'm not sure. They're probably going to do the same thing as it takes that area of effect. It closes off your escape route. So, like you said earlier, Violet, do you see that shock really becoming the X factor up here?
Yeah, so on this map, we have shocks that can actually reach the stern. As soon as you pick it up, you can try to throw chuck a shock grenade if you wanted to. And on this winch side, we have I think two members of Rebel. We have a 2v2 situation here. Identivez trying to take the wide, trying to take the first step, and Sumuns taking out Identivez. The two players that used to be on a team, now they have beef. We like to see it. We love to see it. Crack on winch, trying to get some shots onto Sumuns. Sumuns in a really sticky situation, not being able to do much there. Kardia taking him out. And it looks like we have 3 members of Pittsburgh Knights being taken out. It's all up to Dezo once again. Trip cap domination coming in. And it's going to be Rebels round.
Wow, what a huge back and forth match between these two teams. And typically, I love the big weapon fight. I love the chaotic fights. I love forcing that shoddy style play, but both of these teams kind of evenly matched. Do you think there is any moment when a match is this even that you want to risk that big weapon, or do you want to kind of stick to the base game plan? You don't want to throw any wrenches into the gear just yet?
You know what? On this map, specifically on Harbor, if you wanted to put a big weapon down, you can either put it up top at stern or on the bottom side. On stern, there it is, the M-bar coming in.
Love it.
And whoever wins this fight will get control of the weapon. So it's very crucial to be able to win this fight, because once you do, we can see a potential trip cap domination coming in.
Gotta risk it to get the biscuit. Gotta make it happen, Captain, because that M-bar now is going to be the focal point of both teams. Shocks out for both teams as well. And it looks like Rebel might be stuck down here at the bottom side of the winch. Downs onto Raver. They're going to pick up that meat shield, and look at the shots out from Demon, getting Downs damage and helping solidify kills. Still a complete stalemate up top, and like you said earlier, Violet, you said once you win the winch, you can pretty much angle out and kill off your opponents at the stern, and that's exactly what Rebel did, putting them back into the position to win this next round and take a 4-3 lead and be 1 round away from tying this up and taking it to a map number 3.
And you see all 4 members of the Pittsburgh Knights slowly but surely trying to battle back from their spawn. They have to figure out where Demon is at with that M-bar and make sure not to get caught slipping. A active reload M-bar can kind of stun you in your tracks with a couple pistol bullets, a couple Lancer bullets can easily be the end to any push that you try to make up. But a smoke from Dezonide is going to go ahead and put a cloud over there. So the M-bar is not going to have any clear lines of sight, but Dezonide's rotations are going to be telegraphed. He does have a mark over his head, but it's just the distraction that he needed. It missed M-bar by Demon. It's a missed opportunity to put a stop to this push. Kardia is getting pushed back. Monkyz goes down, but the instant revive from his team. Raver's going to get that elimination, and the hill will change hands, but not without Identivez making a move across the map to keep the hills in their favor.
I love the fact that Pittsburgh Knights utilized the smoke grenade, and one of the members from Pittsburgh Knights actually had smoke instead of flash, and that came to their favor there. And 3 members playing up on the E-Hill, very well played by Pittsburgh Knights on the retake. But it looks like on the other side, Identivez getting control of their home hill, making this pressure coming in 2v2 on the home hill of Pittsburgh Knights. Demon going down, Identivez going down, and Pittsburgh Knights telling them, what are you doing on my home hill? Very well played by Pittsburgh Knights. And on the other side of the map, we have Kardia and Crack Rebel retreating the message and telling Pittsburgh Knights it's not over. 206 on the scoreboard. It looks like Rebel will be winning, and Pittsburgh Knights is going to have to go for a push cap at this point.
Yeah, they're going to have to push on up. Monkyz is just trying to hold off Identivez and Demon here at the home hill. Bouncing around, both of them go down and get taken out. That pretty much wraps this one up. Rebel will be 1 round away from being able to take us to a map number 3, because even if something catastrophic here happened at the start, like Sumuns getting a double or even triple kill, it is not going to matter. As you can see, player number 2, that's Demon, is rotated over. He went home to home just to make sure the pressure stayed on, and the pressure stayed there. It is a 4-2 round count, and they are very, very close to taking this to a map number 3. 12, 5, and 7 there for Monkyz. Opposite end of the board, though. I believe that was Demon and Crack both hitting double-digit kills already for the side. Excuse me, for the side of Rebel. So that's going to be a good stat line, good healthy stat line, and that's getting it done in multiple ways.
You know, I like the fact that as soon as Identivez realized that his team lost the fight on Stern, he started the push. He started the push on their home hill to at least get the break and at least put pressure on the other side of the map. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter because Pittsburgh Knights was able to require their home hill.
Now you see the difference towards the bottom half of the map. Retros versus Incense is going to be an interesting exchange. I almost got to tip my hat on over towards the Retro, which the Pittsburgh Knights have. Hopefully they can put that to use, but it's going to come later in the round because they got an all-out war. 4 versus 4 over towards this Wench and Stern area. It's going to be Raver getting first blood, but damage being traded out all around. Demon's going to even it up. A nice kill coming through from Crack. Sumuns goes down. Dezonide falls as well. So off this initial 4 players dead from the Pittsburgh Knights, looking like it's going to be the final nail in the coffin as Demon wasting no time trying to go for this triple cap domination.
I like what I see from Rebel. This is a completely different level of aggression from that map number 1. Now you'll see, excuse me, now you'll see a bunch of shots out. Rebel being able to pressure up. They're going to be on all 3 hills. That's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. That is a 1-to-1, 5-to-2 round count for Rebel. We are going to be taking this to a map number 3. And I think PR, look, one way or the other, we're going to have to settle this out, but we're going to settle it in a map number 3. Both of these teams have shown both sides of their aggression. Let's see who comes out on top in map number 3, but that's going to be right after this break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gears Esports Pro League. We are in the midst of a battle between Rebel and the Pittsburgh Knights, but sadly, Violet has some other responsibilities that she must take care of, especially because I believe that UIU Divinity Squad would be lost without that leadership and that playmaking ability. So, Violet, do you have anything you want to plug? Do you have anybody you want to shout out? This is your floor before we get into the map 3 talk.
Yeah, of course. First, I want to say thank you for inviting me. This was actually my first time commentating an escalation match and in Spanish, because usually I do it in English, because I usually do it in Spanish, and they're always like 2v2s. And so it was my first time. I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity. You know, shout out to you guys. Shout out to everyone, TC, everyone who's working for Gears. And if you guys would like to follow me on my socials at Violet Caps, unfortunately, I can't go on any further. And I want to mention that this Saturday we have the big Gears of War tournament going on for the females, and it's being organized by the coalition. If you guys want to tune in and support us, we would appreciate it. And like I said again, thank you, Jacob, Colin. It was a pleasure.
I know,
Pleasure and honor was
glad
all
to
of
have you.
ours. I guarantee you, it was all our pleasure and honor. Look, thank you so much for spending your time with us and giving us your insight. Good luck in your tournament tonight. Good luck in the tournament. I believe is it this Saturday? Is that the International Women's Tournament?
Correct, this Saturday.
All right, make sure not to miss that one as well. Violet, thank you so much. We appreciate your time and effort tonight. Have a good luck and have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you, Colin.
I'm gonna have to tune into some of that after this one. If she's really playing in a tournament, man, I'm gonna have to go from casting this one to checking it out, because if you guys want to know where that expertise comes from someone like Violet, it comes from being in the battlefield. She's not gonna send any of her soldiers to do something she wouldn't do herself. But man, Colin, we got a map number 3 right in front of us. We got some replays. If you guys have been missing too much, if you guys blinked, if you guys just weren't here, this has just been a back and forth war between both Rebel and PK. And this is a war that I just like to watch, because it's shock and battle after shock and battle, big play after big play.
Yeah, definitely big play after big play. Both teams really showing kind of both of their hands, whether it be Pittsburgh Knights and their aggression in the map number 1, and then leading into their defensive stance with the Retro Lancer, using their ability to play back, play their positions to a T. And then we saw Rebel just absolutely dominate the winch fights. I believe that might be back-to-back times on Harbor that Rebel has beaten Pittsburgh Knights. They got to figure it out right there if they want to continue to expand their map pool against multiple teams. But Rebel showing their over-aggression at the winch, leading to fight wins at the stern, has really put them in the driver's seat going into map number 3, because I believe they've got the momentum right now.
No, they definitely do. It switched on and in a fashion in which I didn't really expect, especially after the first map. The Pittsburgh Knights really let some opportunities slip through, but on the flip side, Rebel really took advantage of those mistakes, of those holes. So now map number 3, Foundation. And I got to think the core of this Pittsburgh Knight roster in past, in Gears of War 4, kind of made this an auto ban. Kind of didn't really want to spend time, because this was kind of those practice maps. You start a team, you play Foundation. Pittsburgh Knights didn't want to give anybody that little bit of advantage going into that one. So this time, Foundation, a map like Gears 4. Colin, you could change your picks. Now's your chance.
Nah, I live and die on the same hill. Look, like I said before, I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. It won't the first time. It sure as heck won't be the last time we come here to map number 3. Everybody's kind of safety blanket, a map that everybody has played so very much. Since Gears 4 released, I mean, it has probably been the most played map since Gears 4 came out, even when it wasn't in the rotation for Gears 5. Now we see both teams stacked up. It's a 2-1-1 like we've normally seen. An early down comes out onto Crack, so that's going to allow the side of the Pittsburgh Knights to push up and try to get this advantage here at the Pistons.
How does Crack go down at the top of the ramp? And then on the flip side, how do they just get demolished in towards the middle? Pittsburgh Knights may have had a bad map number 2, but they're starting off like they've never even lost a round in their life. They're continuously pushing Rebel back. They're not giving them any options. 2 more players down, the deaths being staggered, and they're now going in for a triple cap domination. This is not looking good to start off our tiebreaker map.
Not looking good at all, but there's a little bit of an answer back. You see them already taking over the B hill. They're going to be putting Identivez down there, trying his best. He's going to throw out the flash turn and not get burned. He's going to rotate all the way back up to their fountain side. Dezo, he's going to try to hold support, but there's the triple cap domination just in time before anybody can get there. 1-0. Pittsburgh Knights 4 rounds away from a 2-1 victory.
That's a quick round, and that's where you don't even really give a team like Rebel an opportunity to really even think about what went wrong, because honestly, it went wrong from the start. I am still shaking my head, scratching it, wondering what happened to Crack coming out of spawn. How often, Colin, do you see somebody with only 2 Lancers get down from that far away across the map? That really set the tone and really set the pace for the Pittsburgh Knights in round number 1.
Boltox out for both teams. Pittsburgh Knights do set the pace early in round number 1, and they continue to push through and get the triple cap domination. Now we see it. It looks like Pittsburgh Knights actually rotate Sumuns over to pick up the Voltok right off of respawn. I don't believe Rebel picked theirs up, so they might want to send somebody back there, because if you lose the positioning of the Pistons, you could also lose your initial Voltok and give that secondary pistol over to the side of the Pittsburgh Knights. Rebel pressing up now. Demon has it down behind him. They've got a couple of kills here in the middle. Raver trying to get the shots over the cover. Not going to be able to get it just yet. Still rolling around. Demon finally decides to pull the snub instead of putting himself in the danger zone. Couple of kills coming through. I mean, Rebel basically did the exact same thing that the Pittsburgh Knights did in round number 1. Right back to
don't
him.
do it.
And early love shown by Demon.
I don't know if that's too early. Thank God they closed out that round. But we've seen what happens when the curse, you hump, you almost instantly throw your team's chances of winning out the window. Luckily for them, it was early on. You have some chance at forgiveness, a chance to really answer back. But with those Voltoks being placed down fountains and welding, not really building up towards your home hill side of the map, do you think that both of these teams are really investing for the future? Or do you think that it's kind of a smart strategy to invest those weapons on towards the neutral hill?
I've always been a big fan of investing toward the neutral hill. I've always liked having the ability, because I mean, you know me, I'm a support player. I like being able to put shots out for my teammates, try to get the downs and damage to allow my teammates to pick up the power weapons. Here we go to round number 3. Pittsburgh Knights have decided to go straight for the retro at welding, fountains and welding, those second half home hills. They're going to send Sumuns over there to pick it up. Smokes out from both teams, trying to block up the view. Here comes Demon rotating into that mid cut. And I believe with the retro out now, it's going to be almost impossible for them to make that same kind of cut, which is why I think they went for that. Rebel's real big chance in this matchup was being able to make that cut, try to rotate around on people. But they weren't able to do it this time, as Sumuns puts the down and damage on, gets the kill before he even gets to the front door. There's going to be a 2v2 here shortly at the home hill of the Pittsburgh Knights, maybe even a 3v2. There's 3 players here. They call out the 3rd player. This is going to get very interesting, PR.
Definitely is. Raver has to answer back with a well-placed flash grenade. If it does look like they're pushing, Flash is going to go out, unable to get any stuns so far, but a smoke is going to allow for Rebel to funnel in. Nobody from the Knights really wanting to risk holding their ground without being able to see their enemies, but Demon trying to put out as much damage as he can, but he finally goes down. Kardia with that Talon pistol trying to dish out the damage as well, but nobody from the Knights going down just yet. They're slowly but surely, inch by inch, chipping away at the defense from Rebel until they fully overtaken that home hill back. So once that decap and capture goes through, they already have the lead. They're going to be able to put a cushion to that as well, but Sumuns overextends towards the other side with that retro as well. It's going to be so hard for Rebel to battle back.
Rebel had to pull the player out of the statue fight back over there. All 3 players that were alive. Now the 4th is back up. You see more people push back toward the fountain side, and this is going to be where the retake comes, but I believe it's been long enough for them to get that secondary retro off of respawn. So as soon as Sumuns comes back, he might find himself right back in the mix of things, right back in the fight with another retro. They actually rotate him up to the home hill. So it's a 2v2 split across the map, both sides, Pistons and Top Street. So it's all down to Rebel having to make a push here. They're going to have to throw smokes, try to get loose, but with that kill, Sumuns pretty much might, I don't want to say solidifies this round, but it pretty much makes it almost impossible. There's 2 kills and a 3rd left to bleed out. That's all she wrote, PR. There's no way they come back into this one. That's 2-1 in favor of the Pittsburgh Knights.
So far, I like what I'm seeing. I think there was a big opportunity there when that retro did get placed down. You saw what Kardia was able to do with that Talon pistol, trying to answer back on the home hill, but the story was the retro. You saw someone kind of putting so much damage out on multiple players, and you kind of said it, invest for that neutral hill. That's exactly what PK did. Now they have a big weapon in the retro, kind of watching down that close quarters combat where you got to capture the hill, and now they can begin to build on their home hill to where that would be the neutral hill on the second half. And I do think they're going to have a retro or a hammer burst or something ready for when that occasion occurs.
Here we come to the 4th round, last round of the first half. Retros picked up by both teams. Voltok in the hand of Identivez, and Monkyz picking up the Voltok opposite side. Dezo's going to throw a long-range flash. You see Demon on that bottom cover. Dezo tries to push out into the cut, and he gets down. The exact same thing that happened last round. They basically tried to pull it off, and neither team was able to be successful with it. I'm not sure why you tempt fate with that push, PR.
I don't know. Sometimes these players just get a little bit ahead of themselves. They start to feel the pressure, feeling like they have to make a move at a time that they don't have to. This is still the very early portions of the game. Even though the Pittsburgh Knights are down 2 hills to 1, they have so much time to figure out where the information is at and make the rotations. You see that information being given. Dezonide spots 3 members over there, and this is the opportunity for Monkyz to rotate to the center of the map along with Raver and then push with Sumuns towards that B hill and take over this neutral hill. But it does look like they're going to continue to attack, and not hopefully they might have more than they could chew. Great plays for Monkyz to be able to get one. The help coming from the top side with Dezonide, but Monkyz has all the damage being placed on him. He needs to be protected by his team.
You see Kardia now trying to push up. There's the down and damage. They get the kill on him. They're still trying to cap up the home hill of Rebel. Dezo goes for a wrap shot. It's not going to be able to get it either. And now you see Raver. He has to back down this ledge. He's going to get shut out by that window. Sumuns is trying to make a little cheeky play here happen against Identivez. He goes down. This is one of those moments where the deaths get staggered out for the Pittsburgh Knights. This is bad news bears. They're not going to be able to come back into this as easy as you think. As you see Identivez starts to wrap up the B hill. He has a teammate there as well to make sure that if either of them were to go down, they get the easy revive off. Now backing up, they're going to go. Identivez is going to go back and I believe pick up the power weapon there, or whatever spawns at their welding. Monkyz will have a fight here against Demon at the statue. Both teams having somebody mount up the streets. There's back A out from Monkyz. Not going to be able to find him. Monkyz actually throws his flash right back into his own face and has to back up a little bit further just to make sure he doesn't get stunned. But Sumuns dying in the middle of the map will open things up for the home-to-home spread, and that will force the triple cap domination to be threatened and possibly convert for Rebel.
Wee bit more where that came from, boy.
Big kill from Dezonide late in the game, but no hills just yet in the favor of the Pittsburgh Knights. You see Rebel doing a good job of defending their own home hill, but this is going to be a 2v2 on this side of the map, 1v1 on the other. Pressure's on for this split push to be successful on both ends. Monkyz gets taken down. Sumuns is going to fall on the other side of the map. And no matter what happens here for the rest of this fight, this is going to be over in the favor of Rebel. So going into the half, they're going to tie it up 2 rounds apiece. And I talk about the play. I think the Pittsburgh Knights were in good control. You saw Monkyz in towards the middle. He made that rotation from statue to the middle. I thought they were going to go in and attack that neutral. They had a 2v1, 3v2 advantage depending on the rotation. He even got an elimination in the middle, but he continued to press forward. He continued to force that exchange and kind of gave Rebel the only opportunity they had to kind of fight in that fight. And from there, you can kind of see it. It didn't look like they were on the same page. And then even after he was full red, he continued to press forward. There has to be a moment from PK, from Monkyz, to where you abandon that play, backtrack for the neutral because you know you did your job of drawing the attention onto the home hill.
Trying to take a look over it. You see the hammer burst out. So rifles across the board for the Pittsburgh Knights. Meanwhile, Rebel is gone with the incendiary early. They really built up that first half home hill. And they've added that bolt talk down at the bottom. I'm pretty sure we'll see an incendiary on the side of the Pittsburgh Knights there at that first half home hill as well to try to get the advantage over that E-hill as we saw earlier in the night between Rise and Vanquish, where they were using the incendiary to try to get downs and damage or get insta-kills there at the statue. 2-1-1 across the map. Pushing up a little bit toward, just trying to bait out shots. Damon's basically just do-si-doing with him at this point.
You gotta be quicker than that. But this is kind of what happens when you go slug for slug, and it's as close as it is. You end up in one of these rounds to where your strategy changes a little bit. You want to play to bait a player in, but then both teams have that same similar strategy. You get up a stalemate. So now it's going to come down to toying with your opponent. You see Demon on one side. You see Dezonide making the play, and Demon waited for that perfect opportunity for Dezonide to kind of toy with him right back. Smoke being placed. He's going to try to go for a capture on this hill. Retro Lancer, or Hammer Burst, and Lancer Fire being fired out. Demon taking a ton of damage. He actually gets one big burst being placed on him. That is the opening PK needs. If they can press forward, they're pushing Identivez back. They made him waste his instant as well. And now with 2 hills under their control in just a few short moments, they should be able to go. But he actually left that player down on the neutral. He gets the capture as well. If they don't win this fight, this is not going to be a good look for Pittsburgh Knights.
Monkyz pulls back to that first half home hill. They actually have to roll back, continuing to play some defense now. They're going to have to get back over to that E-hill. They're getting on to it now, get the decap. You see Crack pushing up, trying to just bait out shots, trying to find multiple players from the side of the Pittsburgh Knights so that nobody gets snuck up on. Identivez gets called out in the middle. There's a good mark onto him. Not able to push up just yet, but they have the 90-degree angle there onto Demon. Now they've got the shots onto Kardia. That's a double kill. That should open things up. Identivez is going to hang out behind this tree. Lancer out, shots on a Dezonide. There's Monkyz. He goes a little wide. Identivez with the up A. Doesn't get the down or the kill. Gets double shot down, as a matter of fact. And there's that revive on Monkyz. I don't know if you continue to push up on this if you're the Pittsburgh Knights. It's the same thing that's come back to bite you in several rounds. The over-aggression. See, Demon's going to clean up Sumuns. Raver, meanwhile, has cleaned up Crack down low. I think this is a pretty good setup for them. They're going to cross that 185 threshold before they can really press up. Raver has the retro in his hand, I believe, just trying to hold off Demon from trying to get to that home hill.
Getting the down on Raver here is huge. He has some help coming off of respawn, and finally that kill is cleaned up by Demon. Make sure Raver is going to go ahead and make sure he kills himself there for that moment. Kardia gets picked off. The opening is there for the Pittsburgh Knights to continue to overextend, but they have to be careful. In 5 seconds, the reinforcements are there. Kardia will be back on the map. Big down coming out from Crack. Nobody able to follow up. So even though I talked about Kardia spawning back in, he's going to have to be careful here. You see the win condition at the top of your screen. It's still going over to Swarm, but it's going to switch up as that decap comes through. Over towards the other side of the map, that 2v2, it has to be forced by Rebel. They have to offensively push out, but as they try that, they're getting taken out. The elimination is coming through, and the Pittsburgh Knights will hold on to this round to the very wire.
Good job and great answer by the Pittsburgh Knights for getting that round under their belt. They're now 2 rounds away from finishing off 2-1. Dezo at 9 kills, 13 assists. He is 1 kill away from getting himself a little double-double here in map number 3, and there's the incendiary answered out by them. I'm sure Rebel will go ahead and try to get that retro at their home. I'm not sure if they might decide to put a power weapon, but they are going to hover over the welding, and we probably see that retro and PR. This is that scary moment that I was talking about earlier, where the home-to-home stretch is just so unbelievably strong, especially if you can get a secondary retro there. I wonder if either team is going to flip up their strategy entirely and try to go for this in this next round.
I would love to see a team take a page out of that Fire and Ice playbook to where they like to push 2 players in towards the middle. On this second half, that can give you different looks. You just need to be careful with that retro. Now both teams have it. I think that's going to lessen the chances, reduce it of it happening where players are trying to rotate in, because if you get caught off guard, if it's Crack just throwing you down with that retro, a nice rotation come through, your plans could be halted, could be cleaned up. So that's why both teams are going to end up in the same scenario we saw last round. To start off this round, it might look a little slow, but both of these teams are just toying with their opponent, trying to catch somebody off guard, trying to get somebody to bite onto the bait.
Dezo pushing down toward the middle of the map. They're going to try to get a 2v1 here on Kardia, stuck inside that cubby, and they do get it off. That's a beautiful little flank out from Dezo. He got lost in the sauce. This is why those marks are so important, to be able to let your teammates know where anybody is going around the map. Demon tries to push up. Monkyz is holding that side. He's going to be able to shoot down and get damage on him before he even has a chance to move up. Nobody has a chance to cap E yet. Identivez is actually going to push across the top street. The home-to-home spread for Pittsburgh Knight has come out, and Demon knows that this is bad news and this could be trouble, so they're trying to pressure up on these last 2 players. Demon with a shot around. They're waiting on him to possibly push. There's going to be Dezo. He's actually going to get shot off from Identivez around the corner, and Identivez, good job for calling him out, because I believe Demon might have gotten snuck right there by Dezo had he not known that he was there and pushed up any further.
In that moment, when I saw both of those players, Monkyz and Dezo, back out of that neutral, I was about to give them props. Luckily, you were talking, though, Colin, because they overstayed their welcome. They needed to continue to back up and not allow this elimination to come through. And now, instead of going for that decap, they want to go ahead and capture that neutral, and they want to win their home hill back. They know going up against that retro in the hands of Sumuns is going to be a hard task. They want to get as many numbers as they can. Chain revives popping off before the members of PK, but the eliminations are coming through. Someone's going to get taken out. Raver will fall on his last life, and the hills will switch on over. The Rebel finally finding some footing in this round. They trail only 1 here. It's 3-2, but this is the tiebreaker map. Everything here is now on the line. You see the win condition. Even though they have about 60 points to overcome, Swarm, uncontested, will take this round.
Beautiful job. A great retake by Rebel. They get their home back. They have the mid-neutral hill. Smokes out by the Pittsburgh Knights. I believe nobody's going to push up just yet. See Demon, he's going to be able to hold defensive fort at their home hill with that retro. We have yet to see anybody really be able to push back across it. And Kardia, my God, talk about the deal sealer right there with that incendiary kill. Sumuns, oh my God, even better. He answers right back into Identivez. And now you see Sumuns going for the decap at the E-Hill. I believe all he had to do was get the decap off, but he goes down. The flash out from Raver. He's going to chase Kardia. He doesn't have the chance to get the kill. He's just going to get the down. Dezo's now in the E-Hill. This is a huge exchange, ladies and gentlemen. Who will come out on top? The E-Hill getting capped up for Pittsburgh, and that could be all she wrote. Nobody's at the home hill just yet. 13 seconds away. PR, what can Pittsburgh do right now other than just try to hold off Rebel? They get the decap at E, but nobody's at the home, and I believe that might answer it up and end it.
2v2, all's on the line. Rebel has to focus on getting that break. They can't even focus on these eliminations. One player gets taken out on one side, and same thing on the other. Nice effort from Identivez and Demon late into that round, but it just wasn't enough. Rebel has been able to hold on. They've been able to put up a fight so far, but for the first time in this map, Pittsburgh Knights chained together 2 consecutive rounds. So I talk about it being a back and forth slugfest that has come to a stop. Pittsburgh Knights have now gained a little bit more momentum over this squad of Rebel. So this is going to be one of the Rebels' biggest around here. How do you answer back? You need to figure out how to neutralize those retros, because honestly, that was one of the biggest keys on the side of the Pittsburgh Knights, is their defense with those retros. Rebel, time and time again, had to overinvest resources in order to break past.
Retros still on both sides of the map. Incendiaries out. Both retros all the way down to 60 seconds as well. That's going to be a pretty definitive advantage if somebody can win both of those. Demon now checking Dezo across the bottom of the statue. Monkyz will have the top street against Identivez as well. 1 round away. Pittsburgh Knights probably want to close this out right here. I don't think they want to keep giving Rebel any kind of life to live in this map number 3, because Rebel, every time that you give them an inch, they've been able to take a mile. Their aggression has been picture perfect throughout most of these shots. And PR, you think that little bait run, that little bait up A from both of these teams is basically just them trying to bait out the Incendiary early, trying to get them to misthrow that utility?
Yeah, some sort of utility, whether it's the Incendiary or the utility of the flash or smoke. That's exactly what they're trying to do, trying to get somebody off guard, trying to get somebody to be a little antsy. There goes a big down coming through, and great Incen being answered back. Monkyz, talk about that up A. He asked for it, and he got it. But you see them funneling, trying to rotate around the map. 3 players trying to get there. If they go now, if they were to just push up the ramp, they would have a 3v2 advantage. But they stalled. They took too much time. The rotation looked like for a moment it's coming through, but there's still that opportunity. They need to figure out a way to get that information. I do believe it starts with Monkyz. He's at the top of that middle ramp. He needs to look across. He needs to figure out where the defense is set up from Rebel, because they don't even know it, Colin, but they're set up perfect to overtake this home hill.
Crack is holding back in the actual hill. They throw the smoke out. They've got 1 player in the middle of the street. Still a 2v2 over here at the statue. The player in the middle of the street, Dezo, he's kind of the linchpin, if you ask me. If he can get any kind of picks or get rotated around onto somebody and get the pressure, that'll give them the opportunity they need. Flashes out the Incendiary. I believe they answered back before utility, but look at the way Pittsburgh Knights have flooded through that fight. Dezo, like I said, was a linchpin. He floods up. Crack is full red. You see Sumuns try to push back out. Kardia might have a flank to the home hill. They now call out Dezo. Dezo's down as well in the Pistons area. 2 players from the Pittsburgh Knights have been killed in the middle of the map. The home hill of Pittsburgh Knights will go the way of Rebel. The home of Rebel being contested right now in a 3v1. Raver will answer back with 1, but he'll go down to the second. And now it is the home-to-home stretch that has been so ungodly good for multiple teams tonight.
Monkyz doing what he can. The MVP tries to slip past. He gets caught out, though. They're going to know he's there, but they're putting so much more importance on the home hill of the Pittsburgh Knights. They're going to have to get 3 hills uncontested, so Rebel needs to play like a full unit and hold on to these hills, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Somebody's slipping by towards the low side. That is going to be Demon. He has a 1v1. The decap is important, but nobody gaining hills is perfect for the situation that Rebel is in. They need to figure out some sort of a footing. They need to work together as a team. They still have the win condition if they can capture 1, but that window of opportunity is closing. Ravel needs to go big. He needs to try to at least get a reset. Now is the time to sacrifice your life, as Swarm now have the win condition. That cap came just in the nick of time, and they have control over that catwalk as well. Rebel doing a good job of holding on late in this round. Decap opportunity. Raver lets it happen. The decap comes through. They're trying to climb back. Big kill from Sumuns. No one's in position by the hill, and the Knights steal that one away to close out the map and close out the series 5-2.
What a fantastic round number 7, down to the wire. They kept themselves in it the whole time. They end up coming away with a victory. Pittsburgh Knights, what a massive map number 3 for both their fandom and their players, because that's one of the things that we've always been able to kind of question about the Pittsburgh Knights was their resolve when they need a retake, when they need to rotate around the map, because they're normally very good in the initial. They're normally very good at aggressive play styles on their opponents. They're not used to being on the back foot. Rebel puts them on the back foot in a lot of times in those last 3 rounds, but there are the Pittsburgh Knights answering the bell each and every time. You talk about getting one player rotated in, getting that next decap, getting somebody just on the hill to pressure somebody out of their fight to try to lancer them out. Those are beautiful little secondary plays that not a lot of people talk about. You might not think it means a lot, but if you just step into the hill and you know you have to hold one to win, somebody from Rebel probably takes their head out of the fight they're in, tries to rotate back to try to get the lancer on the player in the hill to kill him off, to try to save their one hill. Little moments like that shift the balance of an entire round, and as we can see, an entire matchup with 3 rounds in a row going over to Pittsburgh.
And it was sneaky plays from Monkyz. Late into that last round where Rebel, you saw the win condition at the top. They were in great position for it, but Monkyz found a hole. He found it in between the respawns. There was a player on the side of Rebel that rotated off the hill, off their home hill, a little too early. They were fighting for the other side of the map. Unfortunate enough, it really is those minor mistakes, those minor rotations that really separate a win from a loss, and it really shows. But you got to give your hats off to this Rebel squad. They were in it almost until the very end. I talked about a little bit of inconsistencies, but way to put it together towards the second half of the season. Better late than never.
Definitely better late than never. And as we take a look over some of these highlights, I mean, just the amount of plays being made by both teams, that's one of the things that we can't speak to enough. The high caliber of player, the high caliber of team that we have in this league, where just every single moment, every single rotation, every single play is on a knife's edge. It could go one way or the other. You see right back and forth, everybody just, oh, I need to hit this shot. Time to hit a full spread and get a chunk. Oh, I need to get this revive. There it is. I got your back, brother. And that leads to a 2-1 map count for the Pittsburgh Knights. They win they don't win their map pick. They win both of Rebel's map pick. I was going to say neither their map pick, which is hilarious because it's terrible English, but they don't win their map pick. They win both of Rebel's map picks. And I mean, I don't want to say that that's scary for Rebel, but that definitely makes me feel good about Pittsburgh Knights going forward, as it shows just how strong their map pool kind of is expanding at this point.
I mean, at this stage in the game, when you have the upper echelon of the competitors, the best of the best when it comes to Gears Esports, yeah, we have a pick and ban process. You want to pick the maps that suit you, you want to ban away the maps that don't. But when it comes down to these type of teams, the Pittsburgh Knights, the Hives, the EU Uniteds, where they're at the top of their game, it doesn't matter who picks what map, because you practice all of them. And you got to make sure that you leave nothing unsaid, nothing unturned, no excuses left onto the battlefield. You make sure that you try 200% every single time, because when it's all said and done, you'd hate yourself if you look back, hey, if I just did this different, if I just did this more, a little bit more communication, a mark here or there. You want to just go at the end of the day. If you lose, you want to make sure that you did everything in your power to get that victory.
And Rebel, I don't even know if they can look at it like they didn't give everything in their power. Of all the teams tonight, we've seen what I believe it was two map threes. We saw round 9 map 3. I mean, we had some fantastic games on the docket today. Yes, matches 1 and 3 were a little bit lopsided, but I believe every team at the end of the day is just giving their all every single match, because we have put such a good emphasis on how important Pro League is with the mid-split relegation tournament, everything that goes into match win bonuses, so on and so forth. But I believe we have the results from today's matches both on the broadcast and on that side station. Let's take a look over there. And as we talked about, you know, games 1 and 3, the 2-0 from Fire and Ice and the 2-0 from Vanquish, kind of lopsided, but 2-1 Pittsburgh Knights, 2-1 Elevate. And of course, PR, I don't know if there's anything good to say about it, but I did want to see Hive absolutely dominate Queso, because they got challenged a little bit last night. And so I'm happy to see them come out and kind of answer the call.
Hey, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but one of the matches I'm looking at is that Rise Vanquish. We talked about what's going wrong with Rise week after week after week. They kind of give us some sort of hope every once in a while. But when do you throw up that red flag? And I talked about it early on. You can't make any roster changes. So you're going to have to make some deep adjustments to your strategy, maybe which spawn you're giving each player, maybe how you're playing mass. Maybe sometimes you need to take the strategy out of it and just go balls to the wall, aggressive, like some of those players are known for on your team. And so week after week, we make our predictions, but at the end of the day, it's any given Sunday. Any of these teams can upset their counterparts, and you have to make sure you play at 110%, because if you don't, these teams will take advantage, and you have no one to blame but yourself.
We go from the results from day number 6 of the Pro League to our overall standings, and there you have it. Hive and Pittsburgh still atop the mountain at 6-0 and 6-1. 80% map count by Hive. They are on the upswing, ladies and gentlemen. They started out the day in a lower map win percentage than the Pittsburgh Knights, but with a perfect record. We look down, though, and again, I talked about it in the first part of the day. I'm going to talk about it again at the end of the day. Rise and E United being 7-8 at 3-3, 3-4. I mean, I know a lot of people, what would probably stick out to them is Rebel, Rated R, Oxygen, and Queso, but just the amount of talent on the 7-8 squad to be where they are and to be in the position they are, that's the shocker to me. That I won't be able to get away from that one.
Yeah, that's something that really can't be said enough. But when you're looking at these teams, number 7, like you said, United and Rise, at this point in your game, you just need to worry about piecing it together. Like I said, you're not going to necessarily take first. That's not in your control. You don't really have a say in it. Obviously, you got to win your matchups. But now you just need to be playing to get better. I know that might sound a little stupid, but obviously what you guys been practicing so far, there's a ton of holes in your guys' gameplay. But on the top half of that bracket, you got to give a huge congratulations to Hive. And I don't want to jinx them by any means, but when are we going to talk about it, Colin? When are we going to talk about Hive chasing perfection for the season?
Like a pitcher on a perfect game PR. I like a pitcher with a perfect game PR. I don't ever want to speak about people going undefeated. Okay, that's just I just don't do it, man. Like I know we talk about my golf a lot, but at the end of the day, that's what got me through college, was being able to throw a baseball from a pitcher's mound to a catcher's glove. And I will say it 1,000 times: when you are on a hot streak, when you're throwing a good game, you don't want nobody to even look at you. Don't even look at me if your name is not catcher. Okay, if you're not my catcher, if you're not way back in the day when I had my main man Gerard back there, don't even look my direction if I'm throwing a good game. So if I'm Hive, I'm keeping my head down, I'm keeping my blinders on. It is one match at a time. It's who am I beating next? I don't even know if I can see the schedule because of the way my eyes are. But look, we've seen the matchup, we've seen the results, we've seen the standings, we have the schedule for the 16th. Let's bring that on up. Here we go. First off, we're going to get a chance to see that Oxygen Esports team go up against Rated R. Will Oxygen find their first win? Will Rated R find their second? But boy, that second matchup PR is a big one for the standings.
That definitely is. That's number 1 versus number 2. I'm almost seeing deja vu because last split we had the similar matchup between the Pittsburgh Knights and then VQ, how they were dominating the standings, number 1 and number 2. Even though if Hive does lose this would be only their first loss, but that would propel Pittsburgh Knights to number 1 in the standings. So I don't know if that's our matchup of the week, but there's so much riding on that one match.
And I mean, if you're Hive, you're looking at Pittsburgh Knights, you beat them, your path to number 1. I mean, it goes from kind of a bumpy road to almost like that stretch of highway on Death Valley. It's just long and straight, ain't nowhere else to go, nobody else in sight. All you got to do is keep driving straight on down the road. But look, ladies and gentlemen, I need to give a quick reminder. We had Violet on earlier. Shout out to her. She did a fantastic job. Absolutely was a pleasure and an honor to have her around. Do not forget, this weekend, we celebrated International Women's Day a couple days ago. We will be celebrating that in game fashion. It is going to be on twitch.tv. I believe it was /Xbox is what I was told. So twitch.tv /Xbox will be our International Women's Day Gears tournament. North America, Latin America, the best female players on the planet going at it. I'm going to have to tune into that one. It's going to be casted over by the one and only Guy Blaze Live and John Kefalukos, a.k.a. Fallout, making his return to the Gears scene. So they're going to do a fantastic job over there. I don't have any doubt about it. PR, I know you're excited for that one as well.
I'm definitely excited. I know the chat's excited. I've been seeing them call for Osuna all day long. If you guys don't know, that's Blaze. That's definitely him. He seems like a staple in our Gears of War community, and rightfully so. He has a lush, rich history as a player, as a caster, analyst, and even behind the scenes. But I mean, my final words right now, Colin, I'm just happy to be here, happy to be blessed with an opportunity to cast some of the best teams and best players in Gears Esports. I know some of those players out there might not necessarily agree with what we say. They might not necessarily even like what we say, but then prove us wrong. Otherwise, are we actually wrong, Colin?
I mean, I'm always wrong. Ask my wife. She'll tell you I ain't been right once in my life, but that's a story for a different day, ladies and gentlemen. Look, I'm Colin Crow Clark. That's been Jacob MVPR. I love having y'all here in a chat, chopping it up all night long. Keep it clean, keep it civil. Cheer for your favorite teams. Root on for your favorite players. But one way or the other, make sure you're here tomorrow night. I believe it's going to be twitch.tv/UMG Gaming. You might be able to check it out live.gearsofwar.com for E-Days. You got the Astro Battle 2v2 on Friday. It's a full docket of Gears Esports with a women's tournament Saturday. And then we start this whole bad boy over again on Monday with challengers. So you got Gears Esports action all over the place. Don't miss a moment of it. But for that, that's going to be the end of the night. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a good rest of your night from us here at Gears Esports.